Most complex life forms have immune systems of their own.
My name's Uni.
A collection of specific organs and cells to protect them from microscopic intruders like bacteria, viruses, and all sorts of foreign materials. The immune system is expected to do its job in a cool, level-headed manner like a pro. Take this innocent-looking pollen. The immune system would normally just check its license and registration, then politely instruct it to visit the deeper circles of hell. However, in a condition known as allergy, something different happens.
I'll kill you! I'll kill your family! I'll drown your goldfish!
Allergy is an overreaction of the immune system to some specific agents, shall we say, which normally only trigger a small or even unnoticeable response. Allergic reactions come in different types and manifest in several different ways depending on where and to what extent they occur in the body. They can be an itch, a rash, coughing, sneezing, diarrhea, or something more serious, like the insane swelling of your face that scares the living day. Holy sh! What the f- Get away from me! Get away from me! But why and how does allergy even develop? There is no simple answer, I'm afraid. We know that there's a combination of different factors to blame, such as genetic predisposition, environmental conditions, and diet, but the secrets of the underlying biological mechanism aren't fully mapped out yet. But don't worry, scientists are working really hard on the issue.
Red, put it on red.
It's probably not a surprise that pet dogs can be allergic as well. One disease linked to allergy in dogs is called atopic dermatitis, or AD. It's a very common illness manifesting in the inflammation of the skin and itching, and scratching, and licking, chewing, head shaking, butt dragging, rolling around, and whatever action you can imagine as an alternative to scratching. All the damn time. The allergens potentially playing a role in AD are numerous. Allergen, by the way, is the generic term for stuff that can trigger allergic reactions. If you wanted to write a list of them, you'd have to chop down all the forests in the world, turn the wood into paper, and fill the first 10 sheets maybe, but with really fine print. You can get a better overview of everything listed if you put them in categories such as pollens, molds, yeasts, animal/human dander, and tiny arthropods. What they all have in common is that they ride air currents.
Hey!
Well,
Wait!
most of them do. Anyhow, AD is triggered by allergens that get deposited on the skin. Generally, the topmost layer of the skin, called the epidermis, will separate outside allergens from the tissue below where immune cells hang out, thus no allergic reactions can take place. Dogs with AD, however, tend to have a rather fragile skin barrier, microscopically speaking that is. If you zoom out and poke it with a jackhammer, it behaves just like healthy skin. If the skin barrier has microscopic cracks in it, the immune system and the allergens can meet face to face, which is a problem if your dog is allergic to the latter. The symptoms of AD depend on the severity of the allergy and on how long it's been an issue. Mild AD is just an itch you may not even notice. Some areas of the skin become flushed, which can remain hidden under the hair for some time, but eventually the dog's going to scratch it, lick it, chew it, shake it, drag it, roll it all the time until the hair falls out and whatever remains of it is left dirty looking and dark, which is most prominent in light-haired dogs. All this trauma further damages the skin barrier, worsening the allergic symptoms. The affected areas are like war zones for the normal population of bacteria and fungi that live on the skin. Peaceful civilians turn into war-crazed paramilitary gangs, wreaking havoc upon the land.
Death! Death! Cookies! Death. Definitely death.
And with that, the unholy trinity that makes AD is complete. There's immune dysfunction, skin barrier defect, and chaos in the microbiome. The skin becomes painful, red and oozing with pus, smelling like a dead orc in the summer. Eventually the skin grows thick, wrinkly and dark, as if that would ease the suffering. AD appears mainly around the mouth, the eyes, on the feet and on the general underside area of the dog. Oh, and let's not forget the ear canal. Allergy is the leading cause of otitis in the dog. AD usually first manifests at a young age and goes on and on and on as long as the allergen is present in the dog's life.
It's been truly an honor. With a jagged broomstick.
The symptoms can fluctuate in intensity, and there's strong seasonality to them if the allergen is also seasonal, such as various pollens. AD can affect every dog breed, but some seem to display it more often than others, like bulldogs, terriers and retrievers. Although the disease isn't deadly, it sure as hell causes a lot of anguish to both the dog and the owner. So what method is there to diagnose AD? Well, you've probably heard of allergy testing, right? Well, that's not it. Clinical signs, patient history, and the response given to specific anti-allergic drugs will be the clues that inform us best. Allergy tests, which you can perform on a blood sample or less often nowadays on an area of skin, will only tell you what sort of stuff your dog has an inclination to be allergic to. It comes in handy after diagnosing AD to have an idea what might be triggering it. Knowing this is useful for treatment. Doing allergy testing first could sidetrack the diagnosis because positives don't mean they are the reason for any symptoms, and a negative doesn't fully exclude AD. For example, Sherlock here might test very allergic to, I don't know, whale bile, but if it's not the season for whale bile to be in the air, or Sherlock has a very sturdy skin barrier, then a positive test isn't very informative. Turns out Sherlock doesn't have AD, he's just mangy.
What?
But here we are obsessing over whale bile because of allergy tests. It's important to differentiate AD from similarly looking diseases, which include all sorts of parasitic and microbial infections, and food allergy, the #1 mimic of AD, at least in dogs. If you can tell the two apart just by looking, you are very good at lying. The details of differential diagnostics, while breathtakingly interesting, are beyond the scope of this video. Once atopic dermatitis has been diagnosed, we want to A. calm the overreacting hysterical immune system, B. fix the broken skin barrier, and C. calm the raging skin microbiome. Whichever we can do and is needed depending on the severity of symptoms. Emphasis is on action A. Curing the disease for good isn't really an option, but the reduction of clinical signs and symptoms is something we can aim for with a multifactorial, personalized, lifelong treatment strategy. You can most likely stop with it once the dog dies. All in all, treating AD is a major pain in the ass. It either requires a lot of continuous work, or it has unpleasant side effects, or it drains your wallet like Ton 618, the largest known black hole in the universe.
This itch is killing me. I wish I had hands to scratch myself with.
But can't we just make sure the animal doesn't come in contact with whatever it's allergic to? Well, if you identify the guilty allergens with allergy testing, you can probably come up with something appropriate like hoovering or air filtration, but don't expect miracles. However, bathing the dog does more or less remove the allergens from the skin. Won't they come back? Of course they will. That's why you need to do it regularly. Special hypoallergenic shampoos with skin repair and moisturizing formulas, maybe with disinfectants, are helpful. That said, bathing is rarely strong enough as a standalone measure. Also, some dogs are not ideal candidates for bathing. There's a variety of anti-AD drugs available for putting into the body, either orally or by injection, or sometimes both, but for now we'll focus on the firmly established ones. Mind you, this is in 2026. Good old glucocorticoids or steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs are the OG AD-busting drugs of choice. As long as the dog keeps taking them, they reliably, quickly, and cheaply suppress the allergic overreaction. They are magical. I have to keep punching a wall as I'm talking about them just to not get emotional over the miracle they are capable of. However, they are as delicate as a T-35 tank. In the long run, and that's months or years, not days or weeks, glucocorticoids will turn your pet into a skinny fat diabetic wretch that drinks and pees a barrel a day, has raging appetite, hair loss, paper thin skin with calcified patches, fatty liver disease and frequent microbial infections! Also cataracts. But no AD. So glucocorticoids, short term, yes please, sign me up. Long term, only if there's no other option, but keep the dose as low as possible. What about antihistamines? People take them like candy against all sorts of allergies because they are generally safe and effective. Unfortunately, in dogs, their effect falls only somewhere between meh and imaginary. Though if you need to slim your wallet with something, it might as well be antihistamines. You're gonna need a lot though. Cyclosporine is an immunomodulator originally developed to prevent the rejection of organ transplants, but it's also used as anti-AD medication for dogs.
I'll be good, I'll be good.
The effect needs a few weeks to kick in, so for urgent symptomatic relief you'll be needing something else. But in the long term, it's preferable to glucocorticoids as it has less severe and less frequent side effects. And now we get to the 21st century. Enter Janus kinase inhibitors. The sheer power of their charisma is overwhelming. Oh my god. They don't hit inflammation as hard as glucocorticoids do, but have awesome anti-itching properties. And if there's no itching, there's no scratching, licking, chewing, shaking, dragging, rolling. Ergo, the main culprits turning AD into a massively inflammatory, infection-ridden nightmare are gone. Not to mention, going itch-free is a major relief for the dog. The effect kicks in quickly, within a day or so. Add to that a relatively friendly side effect profile, not flawless of course, and we have a drug suitable for both quick relief and long-term control. It might need a little help from Papa glucocorticoid at the beginning of treatment of severe conditions. It's also rather offensive to your wallet.
Your mother is ugly.
So-called monoclonal antibodies, special ones, take this strategy one step further. They only block the itching sensation, but otherwise have no true anti-inflammatory effect. This makes them perfect for the long-term maintenance of the asymptomatic state with barely any adverse effects, but when disaster cases need to be brought down to a baseline, they mostly play a supporting role. Monoclonal antibodies come only in injectable form with a convenient monthly application, however, wallet friendliness is not their strong suit.
Your mother is...
Yes, I know, ugly.
Antibiotics and antifungals deal with the out-of-control microbiome. We try to avoid using them as much as possible, you know, antibiotic resistance and all, and we go with topical disinfectants whenever we can. But if we must use antibiotics, we prefer the topical formulations like creams, ointments, etc. Those can be pretty effective too. In fact, going topical works with other drugs as well if skin lesions are few, because that way they do their magic locally with minimal body-wide adverse effects. Unfortunately, AD is usually a whole body problem, so topical only use has its limits. Topical support, though, is always a good idea, as it helps lower drug doses. Speaking of support, there are lots of other minor supplements and accessories, mostly for complementing major drugs, and I could talk about them for hours, but instead I'll show you this picture of a wheelbarrow. Lastly, the only thing close to a cure is allergen-specific immunotherapy, or ASIT, which consists of regularly injecting your pet with a solution containing more and more of the guilty allergen. You need allergy testing first, obviously. The idea is to hopefully train the immune system not to overreact. Success rates are 60%-ish, and even then some weak symptoms may still persist. But if it works, you'll be able to cut other meds, or at least reduce their dose, without introducing meaningful new adverse effects. Oh my god! On the other hand, you need several months, or in some cases a year of treatment to figure out if this therapy even works, and you can probably never discontinue it or AD comes back. At least it's really cheap. In the opposite universe, absolutely not in ours, but it's still cheaper than some of the other drugs. If you're a glass half full kind of person, this one's probably for you. The exact treatment protocol will be thought up by your vet based on your dog's unique case and your circumstances. From you, it will require patience, perhaps a little blood and sweat here and there, and money. Some people get divorced over this crap, seriously. Knowing all this, you might be wondering, isn't there a way to prevent AD from ever developing? Well, that is unknown. A lot more research is needed on this topic, but there are signs that maybe going more quote-unquote natural might help, if you start at a young age. Not living in a sterile, artificial environment and spending a lot of time outdoors will introduce the immune system to the allergens of the world, so maybe it won't go nuts later when it sees something new. But stay away from pollution if possible. So basically the standard health influencer wisdom, minus the pitching of the latest shark vomit supplement. You have to start before any signs of AD could appear though, because once the disease develops, plunging your dog into a sea of natural allergens might just make things worse. Health. It makes you live longer. The technical information in this video was fact-checked by Nikolett Sike. I thank her very much.